Hi, folks. This is Winston. I haven't done a face video in a long time, so just wanted to say hi. Um, I felt like doing one today. I don't know why. I hope this comes out right and that you can hear my voice. If not, I'll just try to increase the volume on this with some software on my laptop or something. Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is Winston again. Long time no see. Um, Okay, so today I just wanted to make a video about a puzzling question that I have that I've been wondering about, which is why do immigrants want to come to America? I mean, for a long time, immigrants have wanted to come to America for, I don't know, a better life or whatever, or more opportunity or whatever. And sometimes they'll even say freedom or whatever. But I mean, if you look at reality, America is not a happy place. It does not even have freedom, and it does not even have any human connection or social connection. Okay, the people in America don't look happy at all. They don't radiate inner joy or bliss. They don't look happy. I mean, they can say they're happy, but they don't look happy. I mean, they just look miserable and repressed. And you can see it in general, anywhere you go, especially in the suburbs and even in the cities. I mean, people just look grouchy and grumpy and just dissatisfied and not happy. Um, and you don't have to take my word for it. And I'm not projecting. You can go out and look for yourself. Americans are probably one of the least happy people in the world. Okay, so why is where's the better life or the freedom or whatever? I mean, it's insane if you think about it. I mean, if America is not happy or free and there's no human connection, we all need, humans are tribal. We need social connection. We're not meant to be hermits. So, you know, what's the point of moving to America? Why do immigrants idolize America so much? Especially immigrants from Asia or I don't know, Mexico or whatever. I mean, those are the ones that want to come the most. Or Africa or whatever, or refugees or whatever. I mean, yeah, not a lot of Europeans want to come to America. I mean, they come for vacation, but they don't want to live in America. So you don't usually find European immigrants, except maybe in the 1800s and early 1900s. But yeah, nowadays life in Europe is better than America. So, they don't come anymore as immigrants. It's usually Asians or Hispanics or blacks or whatever that want to immigrate to America. But why? I mean, how is America a better life? I mean, there's no social connection. The people look repressed and miserable. I mean, and they know they're slaves. They're just slaves to money. They're slaves to work, and they know it. They're not free. And that's what you are in America. You're a slave to money. You're a slave to the system, and you have no happiness to compensate for it. You have no, you don't have real friends. You don't have true friendship or love or romance or connection. You don't have any of those because any friends you make feel like an acquaintance. They don't feel like real friends. And you're not allowed to seek love or romance because those things don't exist. The modern American does not even believe in love or romance. So if you're a hopeless romantic like me, I mean, you're out of place. It's like you belong in the 1950s or something. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing that'll make you happy except a paycheck and being able to go out and shop and buy things. But that's not enough to make you happy. I mean, why do you think Americans aren't happy? Okay, I mean, if being able to go out and buy things and getting a paycheck is enough to make you happy, then Americans would look happy, but they don't. So so um, so it doesn't make sense if you think about it. Okay, um, yeah, I mean, and plus, I mean, you can't even date the opposite sex. Really, I mean, you can't even flirt. I mean, since 1990, it's been taboo to go out and flirt or meet women. I mean, there's this cold wall between people, and you're not supposed to even talk to strangers unless it's for business. And people are not interested to make friends or connect with others. There's this cold wall. There's this ice barrier between people, and it's obvious. And I don't know why other people don't talk about it. I mean, it's super obvious. I mean, some people talk about it, but I mean, there should be millions of people talking about this, not just me and a few people, because it's obvious. It's like the blue sky. There's an ice wall between people. People don't connect or talk to each other. There's a boundary you're supposed to keep to yourself and not bother people. You're not supposed to be lonely, and if you are, it's your problem. This is not natural. I mean, most countries are not like this. In most countries, when you talk to strangers, there's an instant familiarity. There's not this ice barrier where you're not supposed to talk to people unless it's business only. I mean that's mostly just in North America and also Northeast Asia. Okay, but most countries are not like that. There's not this cold wall between people. Okay, and it's very antisocial. Okay. So yeah, it's not going to make you happy at all. You can't socially connect with others. You have to find a social clique. Otherwise, you got no social life. And breaking into a social clique is not easy in America because, you have to be, really cool and in crowd. And I don't know. I mean, you have to be on this very narrow-minded cliquish frequency to break into a social clique. And for someone very open-minded like me, it's not easy because it's not part of my nature. I'm not narrow-minded, and cliquish like the typical American is. And even American immigrants, I mean, even immigrants in America, once they come here, they start to become very cliquish and narrow-minded. I mean, it's weird. It's like there's this dark force in America that just makes you really narrow-minded, very snobby, and just very antisocial and not want to talk to anybody. I mean, it's and it makes you think you're better than everyone, so there's definitely this really dark force in America that makes you antisocial, and it corrupts you too. It makes you like a really nasty person that just doesn't care about other people and just thinks you're better than everyone, and makes you totally self-absorbed and narcissistic too. So there's a very dark force in America that does that. I mean, it feels almost very Luciferian or satanic or whatever, or archontic or whatever. I mean, and that's just sad. I mean, it's just, I don't know why this dark force doesn't affect me, but it definitely affects most immigrants that come to America, even Asian immigrants. They just become really snobby and think they're too good for everyone, and they become really narrow-minded. It's weird. So yeah, I mean, becoming Americanized is not even a good thing. You're no longer down to earth or genuine once you become Americanized. You're just really snobby and cliquish. You never make eye contact with other people, and you just think you're better than everyone. I mean, it's just toxic and stupid and unfriendly, and it's unnatural too. So it sucks. It's shit. I don't know, why would any immigrant want to come to a place like America? I mean, and you can't even express your desires for the opposite sex. You can't go out and meet women and date women and flirt with women because there's a boundary. You're not supposed to talk to other people, and the women don't like to be approached, so they're not approachable. And if you flirt with a woman you don't know and she's not even your friend, then you're considered a creep and a pervert because you violated her boundaries. So you're a violator of the boundaries. That's just the social culture. It's very antisocial. So if you can't make friends or get dates, what's the point? I mean, you're just being a slave and working for the sake of working with no happiness, with no good life. You can't be yourself, You have to be people are very artificial in America, so you have to be this. I mean, you have to pretend like you're just very zombified or something. I mean, um, I don't know. It seems like people are just so artificial and soulless. So, um, if you're not artificial and you have a soul, you'll feel weird, like you don't fit in. Like you're out of place, because having a soul and being natural is out of place in America. It makes you an anomaly. You're not like everyone else who's soulless and artificial. So it's definitely not a country to be if you have a soul. Okay. Um, so basically, what I've noticed is that these immigrants that come to America, they're not looking for happiness or freedom or social connection. These are people that are really, really practical. And Asians tend to be very practical, okay? I mean, almost coldly practical. So what they come to America for is the ability to earn a really good paycheck or salary so they can buy a house, so they can have their own privacy, and acquire assets, or to have a really good career where you can make a lot of money. So immigrants tend to be very practical minded. They're not they're not spiritual people looking for love or romance or social connection or happiness or freedom or fun. They're not people that, are looking to enjoy life or to have meaningful experiences. These immigrants that come to America are strictly practical. They want a good career so they can make a lot of money and buy a house and have a nice car and raise their social status. Okay, so they're completely practical minded, these immigrants. That's what I've noticed. I mean, that's my impression of them. So that's my explanation. I don't know if you have another explanation. If so, maybe you could mention it in the comments section below. But so these immigrants that come here, they're not romantics, okay? They're not, and they're not spiritual. They're not looking for meaning or to have rich experiences in life. They're not, they're not people of passion and soul. They're not soulful or existential or whatever. I mean, these people are purely practical, and that's what I've noticed, okay? And I don't know, I'm not like that myself, but I'm just saying that's what I've noticed about the immigrants that want to come to America. So it's not about freedom or happiness or whatever, I mean, or any social connection. No way. I mean, those things you don't ever come to America for. There's no freedom in America. I mean, to have freedom, you have to have enough money to be financially independent so you can travel and go where you want and do what you want. That's what freedom, I mean, that's what freedom is. But the thing is, the stupid American media like CNN, they define freedom as, your ability to vote in a democracy, which is stupid because just because you vote in an election doesn't make you free. It doesn't affect your life one iota. Not at all. Zero. It has zero effect on your freedom or happiness when you vote. It's, as everyone knows, it's just a charade. It doesn't change anything. It's just a stupid drama on TV that doesn't affect anything. Okay, zero. It doesn't make a difference at all to your life or to your neighbors or to anybody's life. It's just a theater show. It's a charade. And it's gone on too long, and everyone knows by now that voting doesn't change things. And it definitely doesn't make you free or happy. So why do stupid media outlets like CNN keep defining freedom as the ability to vote in a democracy? There's no such thing as a democracy. I mean, America is controlled by corporations and banks. Everyone knows that. It's not controlled by the people because the definition of democracy is ruled by the majority. And if the majority of people don't have any power in America or rule America, then it's not a democracy. Just because you vote doesn't make it a democracy. It's a corporatocracy. A corporatocracy means it's ruled by corporations. So America is a democracy of corporations, not of the mass of people. And everyone knows that by now. I mean, it's super obvious. So why do stations like CNN keep lying and telling you that it's a free democracy or something? And they always use the word freedom and democracy together as though they're one and the same. I mean, it's 100% false, completely false. Anyone can see that democracy and voting is not free, has nothing to do with freedom, but they still use the two words together, democracy and freedom. So it's a lie. It's 100% false, and yet stations like CNN keep saying that. I mean, they're insulting your intelligence. I don't know why. It's just stupid. It's very low IQ, and it's 100% false. So why does CNN keep doing it? It's dumb. It's stupid. So yeah, so voting has nothing to do with freedom, with your freedom, okay? I mean, none, 0.0000. Okay, so that's not the definition of freedom. The definition of freedom is the ability to be yourself and to do what you want or to do what you love. Okay, if you can't be yourself, you're not free. It doesn't matter who's running the government or what politician is elected or what kind of government you have or the political system. None of that matters. If you can't be yourself, you're not free. And in order to be free, you also have to have enough money to be financially independent so that you don't have to be a slave to some stupid corporation just to make a paycheck that you're not happy working at. You know, that is the definition of slavery. Okay. So, you know, I heard that America itself became a corporation in like 1870 or 1871. And if that's so, then, you know, once the blacks were freed from slavery in America, the whole country became slaves. Because once America became a corporation in 1871, that means all the, you know, everyone became in America became a slave, a corporate citizen. So you're a slave to the corporation called US of A. A lot of truther channels on YouTube have mentioned this. It's been mentioned a lot in conspiracy media and stuff. And supposedly it's well documented. So yeah, if everyone's a slave, then there's no freedom. Let me ask you this, give me some evidence that America's a free country or more free than other countries. You can't. Every time I ask this, nobody has an answer. They all run away. Because there's no evidence or example that you can show that America has more freedom than other countries. I mean, they just say it, you know. And, you know, the only example that the U.S. media has, I mean, the only example that they give to try to claim America as a free country is that really stupid one where it's the one they use all the time in every single in every single news broadcast, which is, oh, look at China and Korea. You can't protest against the government there, otherwise you'll be arrested. But in America, you can protest against the government and you won't be arrested. Therefore, America's a free country. That's so stupid. I mean, that's not the definition of freedom or the epitome of freedom. I mean, it's not like I have a burning desire to go out and protest against the government. What for? It's useless. It doesn't change anything. You know, whether you protest against the government in America or China or Korea, it doesn't change anything. So what does that matter? I mean, that's not the definition of a freedom. And it's not like I have a burning desire to want to protest against the government. So why is that their definition of freedom? I mean, it's the only example they have to try to claim that America has freedom and other countries don't. I mean, if that's the only example they have, that's a red flag. It means they have nothing. Nothing. They have nothing, and that means they got no case. to say that America is a free country, because they give you the stupidest example like that, and that's all the U.S. media can give you, is that dumb example, which is irrelevant to your life and mine. It's irrelevant to our lives. And furthermore, if America has to keep repeating itself and keep ramming down everyone's throat that we're a free country, and you're living in a free country and a democracy, if it has to keep ramming that down your throat, it means it's a lie, because the truth is self-evident. It doesn't have to be repeated over and over again or rammed down your throat. For example, I don't have to repeat to you every day that 2 + 2 is 4, or that giraffes have long necks, or that a tiger is bigger and stronger than a rabbit. I don't need to repeat that every day or ram it down your throat, because you know that it's self-evident. Something that's true is self-evident. If I have to repeat it every day and ram it down your throat, that means it's not true, because I'm trying to control your mind to get you to believe in something that's not true. Okay? So only lies have to be repeated over and over again and rammed down your throat. The truth doesn't need to be. Okay? So that is an obvious sign of mind control. If they have to repeat something on the news, and this goes for other things too, not just freedom and democracy. This goes for anything. If they have to ram it down your throat all the time, then that's a red flag. It means it's not true. It means they're trying to twist your mind and program you. Because truth is self-evident. It doesn't need to be repeated all the time. Okay, I mean, I don't have to repeat to you every day that the sky is blue, on a clear sky, that is, on a clear day. I don't have to repeat that the sky is blue every day, because you know it. There's no need to. It's self-evident. And plus they must be insecure to have to do that, because only people that are insecure have to keep repeating things over and over again to force you to believe it. So yeah, if you have an example to give me about how America is more free than other countries, tell it to me in the comments below, because other people can't come up with anything. I have a webpage where I have 100 reasons why other countries are more free than America, and I even have a forum post where I list 36 freedoms you have in China that you don't have in America. 36 freedoms. And I know most of those freedoms are trivial, but the thing is, they affect your life. They're of every day. They affect your everyday life. Whereas voting or democracy or protesting against the government, that has nothing to do with your everyday life. Okay, those are irrelevant. But the 36 freedoms that you have in China that you don't have in America, a lot of them do affect your everyday life. Like, for example, you don't, like, you can check out of a hotel in China at 3 p.m. rather than 11 a.m. In most American hotels. And you don't have to leave tips in China at restaurants. And the restaurants are cheaper with bigger quantities and portions. That might sound... and in China, you can flirt with a female coworker without, being charged with sexual harassment and stuff, too. In China, it's not, the social culture is not crazy like that, like America is. So there's, these might sound like small things, but they're relevant because they affect your everyday life. So they're relevant, no matter how trivial they are, and they add up. But all the freedoms you talk about in America, like political freedom or religious freedom, they're abstract. They don't affect your everyday life, really. If you think about it, or protesting against the government, that's not something I want to do. So how does that affect my freedom? It doesn't. So yeah, in other countries you have real everyday freedoms, social freedoms, stuff that matters. You don't have to have a car. You can take public transportation in other countries. You don't. In America, you have to have a car, otherwise you're stranded. It's a car culture. They don't have a high-speed rail like they do in other countries. There's not a good public transportation system. So, you know, in America, you're not free to not have a car. That's something that affects you, your everyday life. So in everyday life, I mean, things that matter, other countries have more freedom. You know, all of America's freedoms are abstract. You know, they're like pie in the sky. They're not even real. It's just it's just a construct. It's just an illusion. You know, it's just in theory only. So it's all BS. It's all BS. Okay, it's not reality. You know, America's just a bunch of BS. They just want you to be a slave and work for the corporation, you know. And America's like a machine. It doesn't care about your thoughts or your feelings. It just wants you to work and be a slave and a workaholic and just be a productive slave to the system. Your feelings don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're lonely or depressed or need love or whatever, or unhappy, or you're incomplete or unfulfilled. None of those things matter, because all that matters is that you're a slave and you're profitable to the system. All that matters is keeping this machine running and profitable. You don't matter. Your thoughts and your feelings, you don't matter. Your soul doesn't matter. Your needs don't matter. You know, unless all you want to do is go shopping. Your needs don't. There's nothing to do in America except go shopping. So yeah, you don't really matter as a person. No one cares about your thoughts or feelings. No one loves you for you. In America, it's all about being useful and profitable. You know, you're just a machine. Okay, and I'm sorry to tell you that that's the way it is. Yeah, and there's no true friendship or romance or love. I mean, people don't even believe in that in America anymore. And even if you do make friends, they all feel like acquaintances. And yeah, there's exceptions. You might, if you're lucky, you might find a few friends. You might even join a social clique. You know, but many people can't find those things. So yeah, it's a very unhappy country, and why would anyone want to move here just to get a good paycheck? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I mean, getting a good paycheck and buying a house and a nice car just so you can have privacy and a higher social status, that doesn't make you happy. I mean, there's a lot of people that have money that don't look happy. I mean, they don't radiate joy or bliss. You know, they look grouchy and dissatisfied and paranoid, you know, and, ooh, all I care about is my privacy and my safety. There's no joy. They don't live life to the fullest. They don't have meaningful experiences. You know, they're not, you know, they're not happy on the inside. There's no inner bliss or joy. They're not going with the true natural flow of things. So yeah, I mean, I know it sucks to be poor too, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of people that have money and stuff, and they don't look happy. They look grouchy and miserable and paranoid, and you know, they're not nice or friendly. They just look like they're you know, mean people that just have no inner joy. Okay, and there's a reason for that, because having a nice house and a car and a paycheck doesn't make you happy. You need more than that. Okay. You know, even the Bible says man does not live by bread alone. I mean, you need more than that. You know, you need, you know, you need freedom. You need social connection. You need to be in a culture that allows you to be yourself, like most other countries do. America doesn't let you be yourself. Yeah, so it's not enough. Oh, and you need to have, I forgot, you need to have good social relationships with other people, you know, because happiness is best when shared. You know, that's an old cliche, but it's true. You know, to be truly happy, you have to have people to share it with, people you love, people you genuinely love and care about, okay? just being alone and having a big TV, and is not enough to make you happy. Okay, you need other people to share it with, and that's human nature. It's true. Think of all the most precious and special memories you've ever had. Okay, all the best memories you've had, all the most special memories you've had, were with other people, and they had nothing to do with money, okay, or material things. All your precious, most special memories were with other people. They were not related to money. Okay, think about that. So, just having more money is not going to fulfill you or make you happy. I mean, that's just a lie the system tells you to perpetuate itself. Because once a system becomes a machine, it needs people to keep feeding it so it can survive. So America's like a machine. It needs you to be a workaholic and only care about profit for it to survive, for it to be profitable. And artificial machines needs artificial people to keep running it, to perpetuate it. And so America needs you to be artificial, because it itself is an artificial machine, and an artificial machine needs artificial people to keep it running. So it wants you to be artificial. If you're not, then you don't fit in. You're a misfit. You're useless to it. So yeah, it's going to attract artificial people, and it will hope that you become artificial to serve it. Because an artificial system needs artificial people to keep it going. And so, yeah, I mean, as you can see, I'm not artificial. I'm not like that. But, that's pretty much what you have to be to fit into America. You have to live to work and be artificial and be totally profit oriented. I mean, that's the system. If you're romantic and soulful and you care about human connection, love, romance, genuine friendship, having fun, being free, having meaningful experiences, which is the European mindset, you're not going to fit in America. Okay, you're not going to fit in. That's not the kind of culture this is, and more people need to talk about this and expose it. But America doesn't want you to talk about this. It's kind of taboo. It wants you to just accept everything as normal and conform and to just go along with it. Okay, the world's not going to conform to you. You have to conform to it. That's the mentality. I mean, fortunately, you don't have to conform to that, because you can get out of America and there are other cultures that are happier and have more freedom that you can go to, of course. So you don't have to stay in America and try to conform, but nobody's going to tell you that, because it's taboo to say that for some reason. America's not going to tell you that you can be happier and freer if you leave the country and go to other countries where you can be happier and freer. It's not going to tell you that. Okay, I might tell you that because it's the truth, and I've experienced it, and I care about the truth, and I care about helping the people to become happier and freer. But America's not going to tell you that, okay? Because its job is to make you a slave so that you become a workaholic and make the system profitable and keep it going. That's all America cares about. It doesn't care about your freedom or happiness. Okay? I do care about your freedom and happiness, but America doesn't. It just wants you to be a productive slave to keep the system running. Okay? I have no motive to tell you this. All I care about is the truth and helping you to become freer and happier. But America doesn't, okay? So America is not about the truth, I mean, it'll lie to you and tell you that you're free and you should be happy if you can go out and buy the things you want. Okay, it'll lie to you and tell you that you're free. But But that's not the truth. It's not, because you're not really free. It just tells you that to brainwash you so that you think you're free. But deep down, I think deep down, everyone in America knows that they're not free. You can tell they look like slaves. They look repressed and miserable. One of the conspiracy people that I used to listen to on the internet, his name was Michael Tessarian. He made a good point about this. He said that in America, you can say you're free, but you cannot act like you're free. And that nails it. That's really true. One more time, he said, in America, you can say you're free, but you cannot act like you're free. That's really true. I mean, you can say, oh, I'm living in a free country. You can say that. But if you go out and act free, like if you try to be yourself, act wild, like you can in Mexico or the Philippines, go out and try to be gregarious and spontaneous and wild. No, that's not acceptable. You're going to be seen as some freak that needs to be put away or something. You can't go out in America and act wild and gregarious and free like in that movie Zorba the Greek or something, and be totally vivacious like people are in Spain or Greece or Italy. No way, you can't act like that. No way. That's not America. You're supposed to act very repressed and serious and uptight and paranoid, and all that matters is safety and privacy. That's all people care about. Be paranoid and be concerned with safety and privacy. That's not being free. That's not being wild and spontaneous and vivacious. No. So you cannot act free in America. Not if you watch my music video in Russia, you can see how vivacious and spontaneous and carefree I act. Like I'm coming out of my shell, Look it up on my channel. It's called Shiny Toy Winstons. And it's only about 2 or 3 minutes, but you'll see how vivacious and free and fun I act, It's like I'm coming out of my shell in that video. Yeah, watch that music video of mine. I didn't make it. One of my fans made it. It's called Shiny Toy Winstons. Yeah, and it has a really nice track to it too. But it was a great video, and it still is a great video. It's a great video, and it shows you, how free I felt in Russia and Eastern Europe, and how I was able to come out of my shell, Because once you're out of America, you feel so much freer. Everything feels more free, and you can you feel comfortable in your own skin. You have zero social anxiety, and that is priceless. Priceless. It's beyond words. Okay, in Russia, for example, I never felt any social anxiety, ever. Only when I came back to America did I start feeling social anxiety again. And that proves it's the location and the culture, not me. It's not some defect in me. So if you have social anxiety, it's not because there's some defect in yourself. It's because of the culture. It's toxic. It's unfriendly. It doesn't allow you to be yourself. That's why you have social anxiety. You need to go on all the psychology forums and tell them that. And tell all the psychologists out there too, the American psychologists. It's not a defect within you, it's the culture. And I proved that when I went to Russia and experienced zero social anxiety. If you watch my music video, Shiny Toy Winstons, you'll see that. It's only 2 minutes, but you can see that. Or watch any of my other videos in Russia, you'll see that. There's zero social anxiety. Same with my videos in the Philippines. No social anxiety at all, none. Yeah, it's only in America that I feel social anxiety, where everything feels weird and awkward and off, because America doesn't let you be yourself. It doesn't let you, be your true self. It just expects you to be put out this fake mask and pretend everything's great and have a fake smile and just be productive and go to work and conform to everything. But if it's not you, it's not you. It's just, you're just a slave, like I said. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, you're definitely not free in America for all the reasons I've described. And plus, nowadays, the cost of living in America is so high. All the rents have doubled, and the housing prices have gone through the roof. And you can't even eat out at a restaurant without spending a lot of money. I mean, for many years, the price of a meal at a restaurant in America, when I was growing up, it was like $7 or $8. Now it's like $14 or $15 to eat at a restaurant. That's just ridiculous. It's like double now. Just ridiculous. I mean, in Asia, you can eat out all the time and spend like a lot less than that, way less. It doesn't drain your pocketbook to eat out in Asia. But so America's just ridiculous now. I mean, you can't even eat out without spending a lot, without spending $14 or $15 per meal, and then you have to add a tip too, and then tax. It's stupid. In other countries, you don't have to add a tip. So other countries give you more everyday freedoms for sure. But of course, the stupid CNN is never going to tell you that. It's just going to tell you, oh, you're free because you can vote in a democracy. So stupid. So dumb. Now, my parents, another thing I want to point out, my parents immigrated to America in the 1970s. So that's when we came to America. I came as a baby. So, but the 1970s were different. Maybe during those days, America did have more opportunity and could provide a better life, especially if you were from a poor country or something. So maybe it was true in the 1970s that America could provide you a better life or more opportunity or something. Because, I mean, back then, the cost of living in America was, of course, much lower. And, America was a better place in a lot of ways. It was more social, too. And people were more real back then. Of course, it wasn't perfect by any means, but so a lot of Asian immigrants did come in the 70s and the 80s. And back then, America did provide them a better life. I mean, a lot of, for example, Chinese immigrants that came in the 70s and 80s, they came to America and they got rich. They saved up a lot of money and bought all these houses and properties and invested in real estate. So there are a lot of Asians that did come to America in the 70s and 80s, and they made out really good. It was very profitable for them to come here. But the thing is, I mean, even in the 70s and 80s, America, was still sort of a toxic, competitive place because, American culture has never been about social connection. It's always been about competition and bringing people down so you can elevate yourself up. That's why there's so many bullies in America. It's all about bringing others down so you can elevate yourself. So even in the 70s and 80s, when things were better, okay, it was still kind of toxic and competitive, and you could be lonely and isolated even back then. It was never as good as in other countries. I mean, socially and psychologically. I mean, you still had a lot of crazies and wackos that just lost it because they couldn't handle the stress of life. Even in the 70s and 80s, you had crazy people that, you had a lot of crime and violence and crazy people that just lost it, because So that means even in the 70s and 80s, America was a toxic society. It was never as good for your mental health or socially good as other countries. So even when America was better, it still wasn't that great. It was still toxic. If you look at the big picture. So yeah, so I can understand why, and a lot of the Asians that came to America in the 70s and 80s that immigrated from Asia, including my family. I mean, yeah, I mean they did well. I mean my parents did well. They made a lot of money in America, and in a sense that gave me a better life. But I mean materially, it gave me a better life, but not in terms of dating life or social life or mental health. No, no, I've suffered a lot in America, as you can see. My mental health has always been bad, and I've never had a really good dating life or even a really good social life. So, as you can see, if you read my website, so so even though I've had a good material life in America, yeah, I've never been truly happy because I can't be myself. I can't be free. I don't feel free because I can't be myself. I can't connect with people because people don't want to connect with you. They're antisocial. They don't want to connect with other people. They're very misanthropic. And misanthropic means that they fundamentally don't like other people. That's why Americans, for the most part, don't get along with each other as roommates either. Because they're toxic and misanthropic, which means they don't like other people fundamentally. Okay, so yeah, it's never been good for my mental health, or my social life. And for dating, it's been a nightmare too, because, as an Asian in America, your dating options are very limited. Okay, because most American girls, like over 90%, will never date you. They see you as not their type. So, as an Asian male, you're severely handicapped in America unless you're really, really naturally good looking and you have a great body like Jason Scott Lee or something. But most American guys don't have that. So they're severely handicapped with dating in America. The only way they can, I know a lot of I know many Asian guys do get married in America, but they usually marry other Asian Americans, but the thing is, these are normies. They live to make money and to have a career, which is the typical Asian thing. And I've never been into that. I've always been kind of a misfit, more of like a free thinker or maybe even a hippie type. So I've never been a normie. So that's disadvantaged me even more, because if you were a normie in America and you're Asian, you're more likely to settle down and find a partner and raise a family. But you'd have to be a normie. You'd have to live for a career. You have to be, a conformist basically. And so if you're like that, you would. I mean, that's how most Asians are, and so they can settle down and find another Asian American partner or something. But yeah, I've never been that, so that's disadvantaged me. But in other countries, they don't care as much if you're a normie or not. They don't judge you that way. They're not as judgmental in that way. Not in the Philippines, at least, or in Southeast Asia. They don't judge you for not being a normie or something. As long as you're a nice, good guy, that's all that matters. And that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be judged on stupid things like you are in America. So yeah, I've never had a good dating life in America. Seemed like all the women were taken or not looking. And if they were looking, then they're super, super picky. And, if a woman is super, super picky, then there's a 99% chance she's going to tell me, you're not my type, or I just like you as a friend or whatever. And so it's a no-win situation. You never win, or I never win. So if all the women are claimed to be taken or not looking, and if they are looking, they're super super picky, so that they're never interested in me, and they always say you're not my type, then there's no way to win. It's a no-win situation. And and plus, on top of that, you're not allowed to flirt or even approach women that you like. It's not like in Latin America where you can just go out and meet women just by yourself, just randomly and organically meeting women just by yourself, like they show in the movies. It's so easy in the movies. I mean, you can do that in real life in Latin America or Russia or Southeast Asia too. You can do that in a lot of foreign countries. Just go out and meet women and find a date or even a girlfriend just from cold approach, and it's all natural and organic. I swear. You can, and I have. But not in America, okay? In America, there's an ice wall. You're not allowed to go out and do that and to be yourself and to flirt and to meet women, with cold approach. I know some people say you can, but no, you can't. I mean, if you could, you would see people doing it, but you never see people doing it. Go out and see. I mean, if you're one of those people that BS and claim that you can approach girls in America, you're full of it. I'm sorry. I know you're full of it, because when you go out in America, you don't see anyone cold approaching women in America. None. Even guys that are tall and handsome and good looking and have a sexy body, yeah, they do well, but you don't see them going out and cold approaching women in America, because it's taboo. They know it's taboo. You know it's taboo. It's an unspoken rule, but you can feel the unspoken rule. Okay, in any society, the unspoken rules are felt. You can feel the unspoken rules. They don't need to be written on the wall, okay? An unspoken rule is something you know instinctively. You can feel it. And that's why no guys, even if they're tall and handsome, goes out cold approaching women in America. They're going to use like a dating site or their social networks and stuff. And of course, good looking guys have it better in America. They have more opportunities from, networking or even just naturally. Some guys do have some magnetism that attracts women in America. What I've heard is that there's 20% of guys in America that do really well with women. They're somehow able to draw women to them and get them to like them. And it's not about looks or money like people imagine, okay? It's not about looks or money. Some of these guys are just okay looking or average looking or just so-so or whatever. They're not all successful or tall or rich or handsome, okay? They just have this magnetism or intangible, invisible energy that just draws women to them and makes them like them. Okay, sometimes people just like you for no reason, and sometimes people hate you for no reason. There's no logic to it. So some people have this magnetism that just draws people to them, draws women to them, and nobody can explain why. And other people are the opposite. They just constantly repel women, and women constantly make excuses not to like them. And there's no reason. It's not like they did anything wrong or said anything wrong. They're just, once a woman doesn't like you, you don't have to say or do anything wrong. You can just have a small misunderstanding or show up late 5 minutes or whatever, and that's the excuse they need to ditch you. So it means they already didn't like you and were looking for an excuse. So any little misunderstanding is used against you. It's kind of like if you have a boss and they don't like you and they're looking for a reason to get rid of you. Any little misunderstanding will justify the excuse, That'll be the time they'll let you go, because they don't like you. They can feel that you're not a good fit in their company and you're just draining resources and you don't fit into their little clique. and so they want to get rid of you. So any misunderstanding will be the excuse, and that's how women are too, and not just women, but men probably do that too. Anyone who doesn't like you will use any little thing, misunderstanding, as an excuse. Anyways, back to the subject. So what I've noticed is that 20% of men do really well with getting women in America, and there's a bottom 20% that just doesn't do well at all. They can't get any dates at all. I mean, women just dislike them for some reason. They can be decent looking too and have a nice job, but for some reason there's just this force or energy that just repels the women. So they never do well. And then there's the guys in between. The other 60% are probably somewhere in between, or they got married early and settled down or something. I don't know, but there's videos on YouTube now that say that nowadays 50% of men are not having sex or something, and maybe not getting dates either. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't do any research into this because I don't really care about the social dynamics in America. But yeah, I've seen videos on YouTube and also some internet articles claiming that half the men in America don't get sex or dates or whatever. So yeah, so maybe this has changed, and maybe it's worse than before, and maybe half the men, aren't getting any sex or romance in America or dates. And even if they're married, some of these men could be married, and what that means is their marriage is sexless and loveless and devoid of passion. So even if you're married in America, you may still have a sexless, loveless marriage. Just being married doesn't solve the problem. You might have married the wrong person, or you're just in one of those marriages where it's loveless and dateless and sexless. Not dateless, but sexless and loveless and devoid of passion. You know what I mean? So yeah, it seems like it's getting worse in America. And back to my point, when my family came to America in the 70s, we did good. My parents saved up a lot of money. They had a good salary, and they saved up enough money to, buy more than one house. So they did very well financially. And so, immigrants who came in the 70s and 80s have done very well in America. I'm talking about the Chinese immigrants or the Taiwanese immigrants, like my family is, the Taiwanese immigrants. But yeah, I've never felt happy in America, at least not since kindergarten. So yeah, my happiness has never been good in America. My mental health has never been good. It's always been toxic, never good for the soul. I've never had a good dating life or social life, never had much fun. I don't have any special, meaningful memories that people do as a child or a teenager, these good old times or good old days. I've never had them. Always miserable, repressed, unhappy, misfit. I've had to turn to spirituality as an escape or a coping mechanism, I had to try to, I had to turn to stuff like Christianity or Buddhism or whatever in order to cope with all this, as a coping mechanism. Okay, because I was so miserable. Even in the 1980s, I was miserable. There was a lot of good music in the 80s and good movies, but never felt comfortable. Never felt could be myself. I always felt repressed. People always treated me like shit. Social cliques have always ostracized me. And I don't know. Maybe it could be I had a little bit of Asperger's or something. It's hard to say. I've never had a mental health expert. I've never had a mental health professional ever tell me that I had Asperger's. But it's always possible, I could have Asperger's or something, but Some of my friends say, no, I don't see any Asperger's in you, Winston, but I do see other things. I mean, like you might have other mental issues, but maybe not Asperger's, So I've asked a lot of my friends about this, and they've told me mixed things. Some people think I might have Asperger's, and other people think, no, you don't seem to have Asperger's because you're not like the other people I know that have Asperger's. You probably have some other mental issues. So I don't know. It could be Asperger's or other mental issues, but for some reason, social cliques in America have always ostracized me. I've always felt excluded. And people have just treated me like crap. It's like there's some force from my soul that just repels people in America. So yeah, I mean, I didn't choose to be a misfit. I've always wanted to fit in too. I've always wanted to fit in. Nobody wants to be a misfit. Everyone wants to be loved and accepted and to have a good group of friends they can feel camaraderie with. That's human nature, but America didn't give me that no matter how hard I tried. So it just wasn't meant to be, Some people are incompatible with certain cultures. Maybe I'm spiritually just a different type of soul that doesn't fit into America. It's not true that everybody fits into America. That's a myth. I mean, you can't just put different animals in the zoo together and expect them to get along. They're just different. Like animals don't, they don't form tribes with different animals. They form tribes with their own type of animal. And that's why you have phrases like birds of the same feather flock together, because animals only want to hang out with their own kind. Okay. And that could be true of humans too. Like, I'm not talking about looks or race, but just spiritually, like maybe my soul is different than other people in America. So that's what, and people can sense, people can sense when you're different. Okay. You can't just pretend to be the same as everyone else. People instinctively know if you're different from them. They have this instinct about it. So you can't just pretend to be the same as everyone and be accepted into a social clique. No. You got to understand, a social clique is not a random group of people that just got together. No, they're people that are on the same frequency and on the same wavelength, that see the world the same and process data the same way. That's what a social clique is. They're people that resonate on the same frequency and on the same wavelength. It's not a random group of friends. It's almost like a soul tribe. And they tend to think the same way. They tend to see things the same way. They process information the same way. And that's why they resonate. So a clique is not some random group you can just break into just by being a nice, friendly, sociable guy. No, you can be totally social, totally outgoing, totally gregarious. But a social clique is not going to accept you unless you resonate with the group and see things the same way and process things the same way. And that's what people don't get. Okay, it's not about social skills or being outgoing or being friendly or having people skills or whatever. Those are things that only matter to diplomats. Okay, that has nothing to do with breaking into a social clique. If you don't resonate with the clique, it doesn't matter how friendly or outgoing or how great your people skills are. You don't resonate with the group. You can be totally shy and reserved, and you'll be accepted by a social clique if you resonate with that social clique. Okay, that's how it works. It's all about resonance. It's not about people skills or social skills or any of that bullshit. Okay, those are all fake things designed to shame you. Okay, they're not real. A totally shy person who's not outgoing can have a great social clique if they resonate with that social clique. Has nothing to do with outgoingness or friendliness or people skills, okay? So stop BSing me. I hate that kind of BS in America. It has nothing to do with that. There's a it's not there's a lot of shy people that have a lot of friends if they resonate with those friends. It has nothing to do with being outgoing. Okay, I tried to be super outgoing in high school, but none of the social cliques accepted me because, you know, they didn't resonate with me. They sensed that I was different somehow, you know, and you can't do anything about that. You know, if people don't resonate with you and don't like you, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not a defect. You just don't resonate. You know, just like different animals don't resonate with each other. I mean, a dog and a lion aren't going to resonate. No, it's not because the dog is or the lion is wrong or defective or did something wrong. No, they just don't resonate. So they don't like each other. They're a different species. Why can't people that are narrow-minded and judgmental get that? Jeez. Anyways, back to the topic. Yeah, so sorry for going on a tangent again, but just wanted to make those important points. Now back to the subject. Yeah, so you know, even if you do well materially in America, what's the point if you're not happy? If your mental health sucks, if you have to take antidepressants or try to escape into religion or something, which is all just a Band-Aid. It's a temporary fix. It doesn't fix any of your problems permanently. What's the point? You know, just coming to America and making money, you know, if it doesn't happy, if you don't feel free, if you don't have fun, if you don't have social connection, if you don't have real friends, what's the point? You know, I don't get it. Think about it. I'm not the only one who feels this way. There's a lot of other immigrants that came to America and were disappointed and felt the culture was very toxic and unfriendly too. So yeah, there's a lot of immigrants that feel this way. I've actually collected a lot of quotes from these immigrants, and I put them on a webpage. If I have time, I'll link that webpage below so you can see it. I haven't updated that page in a long time, but yeah, I mean, in the past, I collected a ton of quotes from different immigrants saying how they don't fit into America and how disappointed they were. But it's interesting to see because you don't usually see that on the news or in mainstream publications. You know, so there's a lot of immigrants that feel the same way I do, but they're just afraid to talk about it because it makes them feel like a loser. You know, no one likes to admit that they don't fit in or that they're lonely or a misfit because everyone wants to fit in. Everyone wants to be accepted. No one wants to say all this stuff and to risk having this negative stigma attached to them where they will look like a loser for talking about this. And of course, loneliness is a taboo subject in America. Nobody likes to admit being lonely because it makes you look weak and defective, and people can use it against you. You know, once you complain, people like to use it against you to bring you down. You know, because that's how Americans are. They're competitive. Once you show weakness, they'll bring you down and try to shame you for it, because that's the toxic bullying nature of America. So people are afraid to show weakness in America because once you show weakness, they're like predators that smell blood. They'll use it against you and psychologically put you down and shame you. So yeah, people are afraid to show weakness in America. So nobody likes to admit that they're lonely or unhappy or isolated or not happy or whatever. Yeah, nobody likes to show weakness in America. And plus, you know, there's a loser stigma associated with it, with talking about all the stuff that I'm talking about, or just saying that you're a misfit. There's a loser stigma attached to it. So nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to talk about this. You know, it's a wound to your pride, too, to talk about this. And so even though so that's why even though a lot of people feel the same way I do, they won't talk about this. Not even on the internet, not even on YouTube, not even to their friends. Because no one wants to look like a loser or a misfit. Everyone wants to fit in. It's human nature. But I've gotten to the point where I just don't care what people think. I really have nothing to lose. I'm self-employed, so I'm not dependent on an employer to make a living, so I don't have anything to lose. Plus, I've made a lot of expat friends, and I've made a lot of friends from people in my movement. Other expats and other people in my movement, and other people seeking a better life abroad, other happier abroaders and global daters. I've met a lot of great people abroad and through my website and through my forum and sometimes on YouTube too. So I have a lot of, good friends and close friends too that accept me for me and like me for me. So they already know my views and my positions on all these things. So, and I've been fortunate enough to have, a bunch of close friends that like me for me and accept me for me the way I am. So I really have nothing to lose by talking about all this honestly. Plus, I'm a truth seeker and a philosopher, so my passion is the truth. Okay, truth is my passion. So, and my business and it's my mission in life. So, as a philosopher and a truth seeker, truth is my passion. So, if I'm talking about stuff I'm passionate about, like the truth, then I'm not afraid to talk about the truth. So I have nothing to lose. Plus, I love being honest and telling the truth. It's my passion. So to me, I really have nothing to lose. And talking about this is part of my personality. I'm just brutally honest and upfront. I don't like to BS or act fake or beat around the bush or to lie to you. So I don't know, that's me, but I can't speak for other people. I just imagine other people won't talk about this because, there's a loser stigma that comes with talking about this. And, but a lot of people have emailed me and told me they felt the same way. But yeah, not a lot of people will talk about this on YouTube or on the internet or even in a blog. I mean, in a blog, you can speak anonymously, but people still don't. I don't know. And yeah, I'm sure that people like me are still a minority. I mean, it's still, I'm still marginalized into a niche. But you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there that do feel the same way I do. They just don't publicize it for some reason. But there's more than you think. It's not just like a tiny 1% of people that think the way I do. I think more than that think the way I do or see America the way I do. They just don't talk about it for whatever reason. Anyways, yeah, I think this has gone on long enough. It's gone on a lot longer than I expected, and as usual, I went off on a lot of tangents and tirades and rants into other areas, But I think some of these areas are related. They're connected. Maybe I don't know. It's up to you to decide. And my mind tends to wander all over the place. Maybe I have ADHD or something, and so my mind wanders and often into different tangents. And plus, my mind is very active. I think too much. I think a lot. So that's why I wander off into different tangents and deep points that might be extraneous and not and superfluous and not be necessary. If so, I apologize for that. But yeah, I think all of these points are important and relevant, in my opinion. So yeah, I hope you found this interesting, and I hope you enjoy seeing me again. I don't usually do videos showing my face because I don't see the necessity of it because, if you can show a nice picture or a graphic on YouTube, what's the point of showing your face? I mean, especially if you're not like, like a supermodel or something, or a stud or something. I mean, what's the point of showing my face? But maybe some of you prefer it because showing your face makes you more real and personable, and people can see all the nuances of your face and stuff, and it makes you look more like a real person. And some people might like that more, maybe, because it looks like I'm talking to you in person, sitting across from you, having a conversation, and it seems more personable that way. And some people might like that. And I don't know. It depends on the person, I guess. But I just felt like maybe it's about time sometimes I show my face when I do these videos, But yeah, most of the time I'll just put a nice graphic to look at, because. But yeah, if you prefer that I show my face when doing these videos more, then you can let me know in the comments section if you like. If so, then maybe I'll do more with my face. I mean, more videos of with me talking in front of you. But yeah, most of the time I'll just prefer to just show a graphic or something. Anyways, thanks for listening. I hope it was nice to see me again. And if you followed all these videos, I appreciate it. Even though my audience is small, I still appreciate it if you have taken an interest in everything I say, because, all this stuff is very marginalized and taboo and outside of the box. So it's probably not going to resonate with a lot of people, not in the mainstream, but who knows? I just put my stuff out there, and I have faith that whoever's meant to find it will find it, That's how the universe works. If you're meant to find something that appeals to you or plants seeds or wakes you up or sets you off on a different course, you'll find it. And the universe will use various ways. You might see some article or see some video like this that is just what you need to wake up and change your life or to see things differently. So yeah, I just have faith that when I put this stuff out there, that the right people will find it. Even if it's just a few people, even if it's just a small percentage of people that will find it. I know this is not going to appeal to the mainstream, and I don't expect it to, but yeah, even if just a few people find this video and it helps them and wakes them up and makes them think, oh, I've been thinking that my whole life. I didn't know anyone else felt the same way as me. Wow. I felt this way for years, but I was always afraid to talk about it. I didn't know anyone else felt the same way. And I've gotten emails like that, of course, many times. So that does happen. But yeah, I just have, I have to have faith that whoever's meant to find this message will find it, even if it's just a few people. So yeah, I mean, all you can do is just in life, all you can do is just be yourself and speak from the heart. And that's all that matters, really. Yeah, I mean, if you have any, by the way, if you know any immigrants that came to America, whether recently or a long time ago, I mean, feel free to ask them. I mean, what they think, or I mean, feel free to ask them why they came here and if they think America is a better life or not. I've done that, and I've gotten mixed results. Most immigrants, they're not going to say, oh yeah, America's so much better, I have a better life, unless they're like the really materialistic type, they might say that, but generally they're going to have mixed feelings about coming to America. And any Mexican that came from Mexico to America, they'll tell you that they had way more freedom in Mexico than America, way more happiness. You can talk to Mexican immigrants about that, and they'll tell you that. But the thing is, if these immigrants grew up in America, and live their whole life here, then they're not going to know the difference. They'll be very Americanized and won't be able to know the difference. I'm talking about adult immigrants that came to America as adults or teenagers. Those you can get some perspective from, about why they came here and whether they're happier here, and the pros and cons of being in America, and whether they regret coming here or not to America. I find that when you do that, you get a lot of mixed feelings. A lot of immigrants will say the things I've said, that the culture is fake and isolating and antisocial, and it's hard to find genuine friends. But some immigrants are happy. They have a comfortable house and they make good money. So it just depends on the person and how materialistic they are. The immigrants that are really materialistic, they tend to like America more, it seems, from my experience. But yeah, if the immigrants are very soulful, if they care about, happiness and freedom and romance and social connection, they're not usually going to like America, especially if they like authenticity. Like you speak to people from Germany or Switzerland or something, those people value authenticity and substance. They're not going to like America, okay? People that value authenticity and substance are not going to like America. No way. Those are the people that will share the same views with me about America, like people from Germany or Switzerland or France or whatever. I mean, they usually, people that love authenticity and substance, they won't like it, especially if they're intellectual types too, They'll usually agree with a lot of what I say. So it just depends. But yeah, like I said, people that are very, very materialistic and practical and don't have any thoughts or feelings and are maybe soulless, they tend to like America. People that are very practical. Because America is very practical and materialistic. There's no substance, really. It's all hype. It's all phoniness and hype, So I don't know. I guess if you're a fake person and you're all about BS and hype and you're very materialistic, I guess you would fit into America more, But I'm not like that, so that's not me. I'm not full of BS and hype, and I'm not that materialistic or phony. So someone like me is not going to fit in, That's just the reality of it. Anyways, this has gone on too long. So, let me know what you think and what your immigrant friends think or have told you. So, and if you're an immigrant yourself, let me know what you think too. Feel free to comment. Or if you're an American that knows immigrants, let me know what you think. Okay, thanks for watching. It was great to see you guys again. I'm speaking figuratively, of course. It's great to see you guys again. Hope you've enjoyed seeing me again. That is. Thanks for watching. If you got this far, if you've, this has gone over an hour. So if you if you've watched up to this point, I guess you must really like my videos or resonate with this message or whatever. You resonate with what I say and stuff. Anyways, I'm getting tired. I'm starting to stutter. So I guess I should get off now. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Feel free to visit my website. I'll put it in the links below, and also my forum too. You can access my forum from the website. Just click the link at the top, forum, and then you can talk to other like-minded people in the forum that think the same way that we do. So you're not alone. There's a lot of guys in my forum that think the same way we do, and you can talk to them so you know you're not alone. Okay, well, take care, stay safe, stay sane. Um, yeah, do what you need to do to stay sane, and try to be positive and try to cope with whatever situation you're in. And um, I hope this gives you some hope. You know, we all need hope to get by in life. So yeah, if you want to move abroad and you agree with my message, then start planning, start saving. You got to start today. Because you know, don't waste time. Okay, thank you. Bye now.